Hey y'all, Ms. B, and I want to talk about Sinners. I want to preface this video by saying I remember watching The Breakfast Club when Ryan Coogler was on there, and also I remember after Charlemagne watched it and he said it was a spiritual awakening. And honestly, this is the first time I've walked out of a movie theater, probably in my adult life, maybe Black Panther, also known by Ryan Coogler, and was speechless. Like, I was so moved spiritually, emotionally. Like, it was a great movie. So Sinners came out Easter weekend, which we all know, which is also coincidental because it's a very spiritual movie. And darkness, they say it's a thriller. You can call it whatever you want to. Came out Easter weekend, and I went back to watch Ryan Coogler's interview, and he was talking about, the twins, because Michael B. Jordan plays a set of twins. And at first I was like, Michael B. Jordan playing twins. The movie was so good, y'all. I forgot Michael B. Jordan was not a twin in the movie. That's how great of a job he did. The twins' names were Smoke and Stack. Stack was more of the, kind of like, I wouldn't say bubbly one, more chilled. Smoke was with the smoke, but he was still chill though. But I would say Stack was more gullible. On Ryan Coogler's Breakfast Club interview, because I kept thinking, for all of this detail and all this information to come out in this movie, and all of these little Easter eggs and all this knowledge and history, like, does he have a Rafiki? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but he always goes back to the answers. He always takes us back to Africa. He always takes us to the traditions. The books that he did mention on there on the Breakfast Club was a book called The Blues People by someone named Roy Jones. I think he changed his name. And then also a book called Deep Blue by Robert Coleman. I believe that's what he said his name was. And it's basically called Delta. It was basically about the Delta blues devil music, essentially. And also I want to parallel, like, I remember when Black is King came out, nobody really understood what Beyonce was saying. I love Beyonce. I'm a Beyonce stan. Anyway, it's a correlation of how Black is King and Beyonce comparing music and spirituality, and she's in Africa. Also, you have that here in Sinners with Ryan Coogler paralleling spirituality and music. We have our characters. One of the first characters, we have Preacher Boy. The movie opens up, like, I don't know if I said this already. Couple of spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I'm going to say some things that happen in the movie. If you haven't seen it, not bad to be the movie for you, but come back and watch my video, like, comment, and subscribe. But anyway, Preacher Boy comes in, with his guitar broken. You can tell he had a bad night. But before then, they say one day prior, his dad is a preacher, and his dad really wants him to follow in his footsteps. And he wants him to quote this Bible verse. I can't think off the top of my head. He gets to quote the Bible verse, but then he closes the Bible and he recites it off the top of his head. And he knows for himself inside his soul that music is for him. And his dad tells him, he was like, son, you're gonna keep singing that devil music, blues music, whatever you want to call it. The devil gonna find you, gonna follow you home. So then let's get into, Mary. There's a lot of debate about, was Mary Black, Mary this, Mary that. I heard Spike Lee fighting in the street, not fighting, but like battling people that she is Black. Mary is a person that I would say I'm born and raised in Texas, grew up in Louisiana. My family's from Louisiana. And I've always heard or seen people who look very Caucasian and with green eyes, blue eyes, whatever color eyes, but they're Black, and they call them Passe Blanque, and they have other names for them. And that was like a thing, like she wasn't Black and she was in passing. But the movie, starts with her mother died and she was getting on a train, but she turns around, she sees one of the twins, Michael B. Jordan, I think it was Stack, yeah. And when she turns around, like, you didn't come to my mother's funeral, blah, blah, blah. But their mission to come back to the Delta, they did the mass migration that a lot of people did in the South during this time, was to move from the South, where it's racist, white supremacy, to Chicago. And they went to Chicago, worked for Al Capone, basically stole all their money, liquor, and they're coming back to the South to create a juke joint. And then you have Annie. Annie is someone that I was raised to believe you don't go, voodoo's bad. And that's been a question lately. Like, is voodoo bad, or is voodoo a religion that was taught in Africa that slave masters did not understand, and they programmed us to believe that was bad? Because Annie was not a bad person. And Smoke was, I guess at one point they were together. They had a baby that died and passed away. And when she went to see him, he still wore this little mojo thing that kept him safe, because this is post World War One. And she's selling herbs and things for the community to keep everybody safe, and she's like the voodoo hoodoo lady. And I'm glad that Ryan Coogler didn't make her like some dog person chopping chicken heads or whatever. She's like actually the lady from Lovecraft Country. If you didn't watch it, great movie, great actress. And I like the fact that she wasn't like how Mary was, all light skinned, fair skinned, skinny, petite. She was dark skinned, very smart, very wise, very intelligent. And he knew, that they were each other's person. And you have Delta Slim. So where the twins are going around town trying to get all these things together for this juke joint that they buy from this white man, who he said, he was like, they tell him the Klan come over here. He was like, oh, the Klan don't exist anymore. The lies. But anyway, they go to the store, and then they go to the train station, and they run into Pearline, which was the preacher man's son, Sammy, like his love interest or whatever. And that's when also the twin run into Mary, and she gets off the train. She doesn't get on the train. She was just finished burying her mother. Then she also meet Delta Slim, who's like the neighbor, like the local drunk. He's playing the heck out of a harmonica at the train station. And they want him to play at the club, and he tells them a story. He's like, I used to play for the white people, they like blues music, but they don't like us. Same thing with football. They like you to run that ball, but they don't like you. Anyway, he was like, I'm not gonna do it unless, because I know y'all gonna be here for a night, but whatever club he was working at, they gonna be there forever. Y'all just here now, temporarily anyway. And he gave him a beer. And the first time my reaction was like, why is he looking at that beer like that? That's the first time that he had ever had a beer. Because during this time, there was no alcohol. They were making corn alcohol. So it was like fizz and taste. And he tastes, oh yeah, I'll be there tonight. So then after that, you have Preacher's Kid and Stack, get everybody together, round everything up. And then you have also these different stores. On one side, you see the white section, and you also see the black section. They go to this Chinese store on the black side of the street, and their store is, kind of rinky-dinky, but anyway, they talking in a very southern accent. They ask them to do all this. They quote numbers. Hey, can you come here tonight, do this, make a sign, da-da-da. And you see them literally walk across the street to the other side, the Jewish side, the white side, where the whites go, and their store is different. But anyway, they're doing all this to plan this big, huge party, the party of the century, because they want to open up a juke joint. So everybody gets to I'm just gonna skip. Everybody gets to the juke joint. The music is going, liquor flowing, but you're dealing with people who are still picking cotton, not making a lot of money, and you also have Stack and Smoke, who have stolen from Al Capone, stolen all their liquor. They need to make a profit, and they're not really getting paid a lot of money. So you have Mary, the light skin, white, not white, whoever is up for debate, comes, and she gets let in. And then you have a white man running in a field to this random house, and he looks like kind of beat up or whatever, and these Native Americans are chasing him. And the lady's like, first he starts off with a different accent, because he's Irish, he's a vampire. And he starts off with a different accent, but he sees the Ku Klux Klan in the back of their house, and he starts talking, oh, I think there's some light-skinned niggers or something. He says that. So they let him in. Come to find out, the Native Americans, see, throughout the movie, you can see, like, they keep panning to the sky. It's getting darker and darker. What happens? Vampires come in at night. And the Native American man tries to say, ma'am, if this is a man in your house, you need to get him out. We're trying to get him. So the Native American people speaking their native tongue, like, guess what? She don't want to listen, whatever. She goes back upstairs with her husband. They didn't even convert him to a vampire. So anyway, they come to the juke joint that night. They try to get in. One Easter egg nugget that was picked up a lot online even before I saw the movie was like, people welcome them to your home. Entities that you welcome to your energy that you welcome into your home. The welcome mat. Everybody has the welcome mat. You can't get in there. And they came to the juke joint trying to play their little but if you listen to the lyrics, what they're saying is they're basically saying how they eat and kill people, but they're using their little like folklore or little guitar thing. And I'm like, yeah, they are like, yeah, no, it's a hard no for us, but they sit outside and they wait. So at one point, the Mary goes to one of the twins that she likes, and says, and he looking at the till and it's like, we ain't making no money. Like, we ain't gonna have no money for tonight. Like, everybody eating, drinking for free. Basically, we're not gonna have a profit. We're gonna be gone. We need to make money. So she's like, well, I can go talk to him. Her white passing self. Again, she didn't even want to be. She keeps saying she's black. Her great daddy was half black, whatever. But she feels because she's passed and she can go talk to them. Come to find out, she didn't know there was vampires. One point of the movie, I was like, nobody even noticed that she walked outside. But she comes back in and she, she's different. She's just flowing and the music is flowing. And it gives, this whole cinematography gives that picture, if you ever watch Good Times, of everybody just dancing, the scene and whatever. They're there to get the preacher boy, Sammy, because of his voice, his singing voice. And if we know anything about the Bible, you heard about the Bible, Lucifer, archangel, was the angel of music. God loved to hear him sing before he got cast to hell, basically. So that's what drawn the vampires to the juke joint. But Mary comes back in, converts one of the twins into a vampire. They don't know this yet until later on. But long story short, the spirituality of it was, it's called sinners. Everybody has sinned. In a scene, you have even the preacher kid, he sins with a woman that's married. You have one of the twins who sins. You have everybody who is sinning except for Annie, the voodoo lady. I'm not going to call her voodoo lady. I'm going to call her the intelligent lady. With all the knowledge and all the tea on the spiritual world, the bones and everything, figuring things out, the potions. Everybody has sinned except her. And you also have the Chinese couple there, whatever. They're doing their thing. And Mary walks out and comes back. And then she converts one of the twins, and the other twin could not take it. Michael B. Jordan, he can't take it. It's his brother. They've been locked in. Like, he want a cigarette. The twin, no, he need a cigarette. He'll roll a cigarette before I light it for him. And also, you will notice, like, shaky hands, little details, a lot of details. The part that I really want to get into is Remick, who's the head vampire, who actually converts everybody to vampire, into this vampire. They have this dialogue with them when they're trying to get into the juke joint to convert them. And they was like, this property that y'all bought to turn this into a juke joint, this is owned by this is a slaughterhouse. If it's not gonna be us tonight, it's gonna be the KKK tomorrow. You're never gonna be free in this country. Everything here, they've taken you from your homeland. Because that happened to Remick, the vampire. You could tell he's been living, vampires, live for thousands of years. Happened to him, and apparently he was Irish. It happened to us. And then now you have the twin who's already converted. Like, yeah, we can live together. We can live the rest of our life. We ain't got to live in bondage. We can live freedom. We can do whatever we want to do. And the message that the devil is delivering is, you're black. You're never going to have anything in this country. You're never going to own anything in this